Dee-dee-dee-dum, dum, da-da-da-dum, da-dum, dum, da-da-da-dum. Dee-dee-dee-dum, dum, da-da-da-dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum. Da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da. Dum, da-da-da-dum, da-dum, dum, da-da-da-da.
Welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show about two guys trying to gain some perspective on America by watching the Andy Griffith Show and getting in touch with our old-timey America. I am Marty Schneider.
I'm Dan Ludwig.
We are taking on episodes 13 and 14 of Season 1, both directed by Bob Sweeney.
Notorious riverboat gambler Bob Sweeney.
Who is, pretty much takes over this entire season, so we'll hear his name a lot. Episode 13, Mayberry Goes Hollywood, written by Benedict Freeman and John Fenton Murray, who are names we haven't seen before. Completely
great old-timey names. John Fenton Murray.
John Fenton Murray! The Murray brothers!
Of the Murray compound, where they grow wine. Like... A vineyard. I thought of a fucking vineyard. Oh, God.
Congratulations. Episode 14, The Horse Trader, written by our old friends Jack Ellison and Charles Stewart.
Yeah.
So before we start on today's stuff, we should point out the thing that we've forgotten to say every other time, which is that if you want to watch these episodes along with us, you can watch them, at least in America anyway. They're all available on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and I've found most of these episodes on YouTube as well, if you just search by the actual episode title name.
And I'm not saying that you could also torrent it, but also everyone involved in creating this is dead by now, so... I'm just going to say that and move on.
I'm sure CBS still has the rights and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, so if you want to watch along with us, you can definitely find this stuff pretty easily. Or you could just turn on Antenna Television, watch MeTV, or go to TV Land if you have cable, and if it's between the hours of like 9 a.m. and like 3:30 p.m., you've got a pretty good chance of catching an Andy Griffith Show episode.
Vaguely aware that TV Land exists, and suddenly you're watching the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an It Follows kind of thing. It's just the Andy Griffith tune just follows you behind you. You
can be, like, just in the middle of watching, like, a rerun of Justified, and then just remember that TV Land is on, and Andy Griffith wanders into the show, and it slowly fades to black and white.
Wait, holy shit, Andy Griffith would fucking rule on Justified.
It's kind of turning into that very slowly. There are some episodes that are straight up Justified. Like, the Moonshine episode that's coming up is straight up just a very low-key Justified episode.
It is an episode Justified.
Yeah.
Also, I just dropped an F-bomb, so both, like, we've gotten feedback from both your mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And both of their, like, assessment of the show in its entirety is, you two swear a lot.
Yeah, no, which I just say fuck whenever I'm trying to, like, think of something to say.
So, we've already screwed it up, but I'm gonna try to dial back the F-bomb. It's gonna be a little bit more family-friendly Andy Griffith Show podcast.
I tried that on episode 2 and just can't, got a headache the entire time.
Just your nose starts bleeding.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna start up with episode 13, Mayberry Goes Hollywood. As always, I'm gonna go ahead and read the one-sentence description based on the Wikipedia. Mayberry is chosen as the setting for an upcoming movie, so the whole town, except Andy, gets carried away with all the glamour. This is the first time we see...
Again, that's just the end, like, Wikipedia spoils brutally.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 25 minutes of story here.
That's true. For Mayberry Goes Hollywood, I'm rather hungover for this episode. This is the perfect episode to be hungover for, because I feel like Mayberry Goes Hollywood is also kind of hungover. And just kind of shuffling up to the plate and just immediately bunting.
It does have kind of like a 3-act structure, like kind of perfectly, but each individual act seems to come from a different episode.
See, I kind of connected to it just from like trying to write like books and short stories when I was in high school. And you know that thing where you're like, I know what I want to do for Act 1, I know what I want to do for Act 2, middle, and here's the ending I want. Like, you just, like, the writing the middle part is always, like, your attention sort of drifts off. The same thing happens to this episode where they're like, alright, Act 1, Act 2, and then some stuff happens, and then the big impassioned speech at the end.
By the way, I should point out, both of these episodes start off with a town council meeting.
Is it a town council meeting?
In this episode, at least, he very specifically says, or the guest very specifically says, "Thank you for allowing me to present this idea to the town council."
Why is Andy on the city council and Ellie isn't? Andy didn't run!
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's already the sheriff and the justice of the peace and the de facto mayor. So.
We are basically, in watching this show, watching Andy slowly consolidate power, and it happens further this episode. He low-key usurps the mayor.
They both start with town council meetings. In this one, Ellie is not there. In the next one, Ellie is there. So,
but also Don Knotts is.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, there's no continuity to this. But let's just go ahead and try to kick the tires on the Batmobile and try to put continuity here. I'm just going to assume
my headcanon is that Mayberry's government is literally just whoever is in the room with the mayor. Like, they're like, hey,
it kind of is. Like the mayor basically just like listens to and takes the point of view of whoever spoke to him last.
Yes,
which is terrifying in 2018.
I gotta say, so this is like the first like real introduction of the mayor. I love him. I love it. He is so adorable. Like there is one line where they're debating about whether or not they should allow a movie to be filmed in their town.
Yeah, let's actually just go ahead and introduce the plot of the episode. So the first scene is the town council in the mayor's office are listening to the proposal of a Hollywood producer named Mr. Harmon. So Mr. Harmon is saying
the
that
most boring actor ever.
He's just really dull, and he's like called upon to
deliver an impassioned speech at the end, and he just sort of like monotones it.
Whiffs it.
Yeah.
So that's just like very dry dude, just the most basic guy I can think of. And he says, "Well, thank you for allowing me to present this to the town council. I would like to make a movie in Mayberry. What? How do you feel about that?"
Is this what like Hollywood producers were like back then? Of just these very monotone, proper men in thin suits who speak very carefully. Like he's like a tax collector. Like, was it a super upstanding profession back in the day?
I wonder if like the people making the show wanted to like give a middle finger to their producers or to producers that they've worked with. So they were like, let's just get the shittiest guy we can find to play the producer. You know what? Tangent. I actually believe that might still be true today. Taika Waititi, when he was making Thor Ragnarok, he told a story about like going to the Marvel executives. He plays a story about like he went to the Marvel executives and he played "Immigrant Song," which plays a big role in that movie. And they hear it and and the Marvel execs, these studio execs, who are all probably like in their 40s or 50s, are just like, "Oh, that's a cool song. What is it?"
Yeah.
And like Taika Waititi's just like, it's very famous. It's Led Zeppelin. I don't know how to, but and I feel like that explains a lot about Marvel movies and also about movie producers in general.
Is this the most accurate representation of a Hollywood producer, that they're all like just sort of like removed from cardboard?
Yeah,
like,
they're just so lame.
You have to like carve them out of plastic with a box cutter, and then they just sort of stand there and be like, I approve this decision.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, I feel like that's most executives, to be honest. Anyway, so Hollywood executive is talking to the town council, and the town council is apparently the mayor, and in this case, it's Andy, it is Floyd the barber, and it is Orville, who we last saw in the guitar player episode. He's the guy who runs the mortuary.
Who's really just sort of astoundingly unpleasant to look at.
It's such a very odd man.
He has so much neck. He, like, just an abundance. He has more neck than head. Like, he looks like you superimposed a face on a thumb. Like, it's incredible.
This is also the first time we see Floyd the barber played by his permanent actor, Howard McNear.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few episodes with McNear playing Floyd now. I have no idea what he's going for. He's taking the Groucho look, but with 0% of the Groucho personality.
It's the previous actor was like, he was bumbling, like the one that Barney chewed into for a solid, like, 10-minute scene. He was like a bumbling, doddering old man, and this guy's just like, he's just kind of half doing that.
He feels like he really could be like an incompetent cartoon villain. It's like Dick Dastardly, but also Mr. Magoo at the same time.
More Magoo than Dastardly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these gentlemen are all gathered around. They're listening to the proposal. They ask the movie producer to step outside for a little bit so that they can have a discussion. Orville and Floyd are very, very much against this idea.
Yeah.
They are as soon as the producer steps out of the room, they're very angry. And Andy says, well, why? Why are you so upset by this? And they say, well, how do we know? They're not making that movie to laugh at us.
The way we live and the way we talk and our fat little mayor. And the mayor like turns around and be like, you gonna let him make fun of your fat little mayor? Like, and that was the moment where I was like, oh my god, I want him to live in a little house in my backyard.
He's adorable.
I want to adopt this tiny fat man. I know he's not actually 4 foot tall, but that is generally like the vibe he gives off of. Just this little man that you could carry around in a basket.
He's basically Piglet from Winnie the Pooh.
Yes! He's just this belligerent little stump of a man. He's friggin' adorable. He's the best character on the entire show. I want to adopt him as my son.
So they go through this, and the joke is that whoever just spoke, the mayor automatically just goes to their side. I think it's very interesting and somewhat telling that Floyd and Orville's big issue with this is someone might laugh at them, which again in 2018 is very strange because if you listen to our president, half of the decisions that he makes are based on the idea that somebody in another country somewhere is laughing at us. They're laughing at us in
deep, violent reaction to just the concept of mockery.
Yeah.
Especially the concept of mockery by the elites.
Right.
They're they're gonna come down here and laugh at the simple way we live.
Which is also super meta because it made me think how this entire show is me laughing at Mayberry?
Yeah.
Again, it's that question of, in 1961, how seriously am I supposed to take this? Which I still don't understand. Yeah, that's the premise of the entire show, is I make fun of the way that these people walk and talk and live their lives. But also I'm supposed to
the jokes are, haha, bumpkins.
Yeah, but the other half are just these are good, salt-of-the-earth people, and they deserve your respect and dignity. But they're also bumpkins.
Okay, so I think I figured out, one of the first questions we had, I think, this episode sort of solves the mystery, is, are we on the side of Mayberry? Are we laughing at Mayberry? It's Pawnee.
I was gonna say, it's Pawnee.
It's exactly, so the thing is, it's supposed to encapsulate, I don't know if it's supposed to encapsulate, the stupidity of America, or just the stupidity of the South, but also being, despite how stupid it is, it's perfect and great and wonderful.
It's Pawnee. It's also Springfield. Yeah.
I'd say more Pawnee than Springfield, just because I think you're laughing with Mayberry a little more than Springfield.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Pawnee, pretty much throughout the entire series. Why? Because it's driven, it's a similar series because it's driven by a main character who loves that town so much.
Yeah.
So Leslie Knope is, everyone just naturally assumes she's the follow-up to Michael Scott. She's kind of in the footsteps of an Andy Griffith character.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Though what she does is just sort of be extremely driven and aggressive, and he loves Mayberry so much that he does many crimes.
Well, I mean, they do that in Parks and Rec too. Every once in a while, Leslie Knope abuses her power pretty badly, and then there's an entire episode dedicated to her and Ben having to go to trial for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's one of the things that we're doing is I keep making connections between Andy Griffith and modern comedies and how they influence. So that's a good example. So it's Pawnee. All right. So Andy
also thing, as these guys going right after they say they're going to make fun of the way we talk, immediately, almost as if they're subconsciously hearing that, all three of the actors start dialing their southern accents way the fuck up. Andy goes from just his normal like Southern accent to literally saying at one point, I can't even like do how he says, aren't we counting our peaches before they're all fuzzed up? Like he uses
it's the most Southern vernacular.
He puts like 7 extra vowels into the word up. Like it has arcs, it has cadences, like They're just like doing dueling Southern accents by the end of that meeting.
So Andy volunteers to take the movie producer on a tour of Mayberry, which is very strange because you would assume that the producer would have already toured Mayberry before making this decision.
That's why he decided he wanted to do it.
Yeah. But Andy says, well, I'm just going to go and take him on a tour. We'll see the sights, and I'll monitor him, and I'll see if he, like, makes any fun of us. And if he doesn't make any fun of us, then it's okay.
And the mayor agrees to that, but he sort of agrees on it on the basis of Andy is the last one to talk, and the mayor, like, him's like, I'm glad you've all seen it my way. And Andy says, that's why you're such a good mayor. You're always thinking for yourself.
Roll on snare drum and move to the next scene.
Little sinister. The absentee mayor. Adorable absentee mayor, but...
Alright, so Andy, Mr. Harmon, on a tour of Mayberry, which I'm sure took about 10 minutes, shows them the sights. They have...
Well, before they show them the sights, there is the first instance of them literally just being like, alright, so we've basically written 10 minutes of script, so we just have 10 minutes to kill. So first, do you want to have Don Knotts just tell a meandering story for several minutes that literally goes nowhere? Just, like, I watched that episode a couple of times. Don Knotts tells a story that involves someone's newspaper, a house cleaner, several people standing around a yard. I've watched it a couple of times. I still have no idea what the story was.
I'm sorry, it's Gary Cooper's newspaper, sir, and Gary Cooper's maid. The story is then Barney selling this secondhand because somebody from Mayberry went to Hollywood. They went on a tour of the Stars Homes tour, and then they stopped outside of Gary Cooper's house. And you know what's outside of Gary Cooper's house? Gary Cooper's newspaper. So they all stood outside and they kind of looked at Gary Cooper's newspaper for a while. One of them picked it up. You know who came outside? Gary Cooper's maid.
I didn't know that Gary Cooper was a famous person, so I was like, okay, so he's just telling a story about a dude in Mayberry?
No, he's telling a story about and that's the joke, right? Is that they went to a famous person's house and nothing interesting happened. But
with that story that you just told, you basically like did it. Your Don Knotts is getting better. With each pregnant pause you did, the pregnant pause was like 5 seconds. Yeah. There was a lot of parts of that story of just Don Knotts just staring at Andy Griffith.
It's filler, but since the joke is that this story is incredibly boring, it kind of works.
And this is immediately followed by a second filler of Andy and Barney accidentally locked themselves in a jail cell. And they're literally just like, all right, we've had this in our back pocket for a while. We brainstormed on episode 2, what if Andy and Barney locked themselves in a jail cell? We need to kill this 10 minutes. Drop it here. They do. They
lock themselves in a jail cell. They try to use a broomstick to get the key away, and they manage to get it, but then Barney sneezes. It's just, again, it's more filler. And then Mr. Harmon shows up. He's like, well, I'm ready to take the tour. Oh, do you fellows need assistance?
And the entire time they're the pregnant thing is like, oh, the Hollywood producer is going to turn out to be a bad guy. You think like that's the time when he's going to like call them pumpkins or some shit like that.
Right, because anybody who comes from outside is a bad person.
Yeah, but he's completely, sort of weirdly unfazed. He's he was just like, oh, let me help you out of your own jail cell, Sheriff. All right, let's go. I'm not going to spare literally a second thought. I don't have any questions.
I won't think about this at all. This doesn't make me pass any judgment on you whatsoever.
He's more robotic than the actual robot guy in the last episode. Like, the one who everyone thought was a robot. Yeah.
So then they go on the tour. They meet up with Floyd and Orville again. Floyd... So they introduce him, this is our barber Floyd, and I don't know why he's introducing him to Floyd, because they already met. They already met!
This episode is so badly written! They got so bored writing this.
And they really, like, overestimate how funny Floyd and Orville are. Because Floyd and Orville are in a lot of this episode. So Floyd is just like, oh, I always... And his delivery on this is so weird. He says something like, oh, I always did want to be a barber. I when I was little, I used to practice on cats. I used to catch them in an alley and trim them, like a murderer.
Yes! No, yeah, Floyd is... I feel like we have a Mayberry's big wall of potential serial killers. Floyd's on the wall now.
Floyd is...
It is currently Barney Fife and Floyd.
Yeah.
And maybe someone else who I'm going to remember later.
Emma.
Yep. Emma's potential serial killer. Oh, no, wait. Stranger in Town guy is still hanging out.
He's definitely there.
That dude is definitely on the wall.
Yeah. And then they have this little bit about how Floyd isn't that good of a barber for humans, but he's great for cats. Ha ha ha. And then they just gotta walk away. Like, well, time to go meet another person in the town.
Again, they just do, literally, it's just a tour episode. They literally just, Andy walks from situation to situation, says, hello, character in Mayberry. Do you have anything to say? And the character goes maybe. I'm gonna start talking. We're gonna find out if there's anything here. In some instances, the answer will be no. It's in the episode anyway. We have so much time to kill.
They go to Orville's place, right?
Oh,
yeah.
God,
There's a bit because Orville is the town funeral director, but he's also the town TV repair person, which is a funny idea in theory.
Yeah. They don't know how to stick that landing just yet. Well, I think it's funny if you can get at all blue with it, which they can't. They can't get really macabre with.
I thought the gag that they did come up with was really funny. I'm not gonna say really funny. It was kind of funny. The gag that they do come up with is Orville says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little busy. I have a customer in the back, Mrs. McCabe," and Andy's like, "Oh, Edna McCabe? Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, her picture tube blew, and she gets really mad if she can't see wrestling." All right, that's pretty much the one joke you can do with that setup.
Yeah.
And then a hearse pulls up, and it's like, oh, my new TV antennas have shown up.
This impression is pretty accurate and really upsetting.
I actually like the way that this guy delivers stuff.
Sounds like a Muppet.
These are Muppet people.
Yes!
Floyd and Orville are Muppet people.
Again, Orville kind of looks like a Muppet.
Yeah.
He does sort of look like a sock that someone is manipulating a hand underneath of.
So then they return to the oak tree, which is in the center of town, and Mr. Harmon is doing the thing that people in movie producers do on television. I don't think they actually do this. And he's doing the thing where he puts his two thumbs together and makes a little window screen with his fingers.
And they Andy asks what he's doing, and then he explains it. He's doing it to see what it would look like through a camera. Again, this is another 3-minute bit. They get every second out of they can because they show Andy doing the little screen around town and be like, well, I'll be. Look at that. This is such a pretty town. Oh, look, there's Opie and Aunt Bee. Oh, they look so good on a camera. And then Opie comes up and is like, hey, what you doing? And then Andy explains it again. And then Opie is like, all right, now I'm gonna do it. And just they're just doing a combo of it.
Now, hang on. There's a moment that Opie has here that's treated like a joke, but it's actually one of the smartest things anyone in the entire show has done. When Opie finds out that there's going to be a movie shot there, he says, "Oh wow, you're going to make a real movie with cowboys and gunfights and shooting and stuff?" And the producer's like, "No, it's not that kind of movie. I'm sorry." And Opie's like, "You mean there's another kind?" Because the joke is he's never seen any movie that's not a western with cowboys shooting. And of course, that's a joke. Everyone makes fun of him. Ha ha, silly, stupid kid. Opie's the only one who has come close to asking, "Hey, what is this movie about?"
Yes!
No one asked, what is this movie about? I don't understand. Do Floyd and Orville think that they're making a documentary? Is it a Grey Garden situation?
Well, they are worried that they're going to be made fun of. Is it going to be just do they think it's just going to be someone wandering around town and be like, look at this piece of shit. Hey, say something into the camera, idiot. All right, come on to the next one. Just a rolling tour of fuck these people.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very weird idea because that's not how movies work. And I feel like even these bumpkins know how movies work. Like,
no, I mean, maybe they haven't mentioned having a movie theater yet.
there is a movie theater. They haven't mentioned it, but you can see it in the background in several shots.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've definitely seen the theater.
It's like until it's explicitly stated
And also
or shown.
OPC movies.
That is, basically my philosophy with the show is like until it's explicitly stated or shown that it is in Mayberry, I just assume they don't have one because they keep being surprised that shit exists.
Also, in Opie's charity, Andy asks Opie if he wants to take his girlfriend to movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so there is a movie theater there. That's been established. Yeah, Opie's the only one who asks, what is this damn movie about? We never know. They just left that part out. I'm going to take a little tangent here. Tell a story. This actually kind of happened in my childhood. There is a town near where I grew up called Jacksonville, Oregon. And Jacksonville, Oregon is a very nice, quaint little town. One of their big things, their big tourist thing, is they're like historically registered. So it's all colonial style houses and cobblestone streets and things, and like horse-drawn tours. It's very Mayberry-esque. Mm-hmm. There was a crew, producer, I want to say it was like probably Paramount, filming an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Hell yes.
Yeah, that wanted to come in and film in Jacksonville. And I want to say that the movie was Kindergarten Cop.
Yes!
And the reason I say it was Kindergarten Cop is because they later went further north in Oregon and filmed it. Because the Jacksonville Town Council, they had a big meeting, they had a big vote on it just like this, and they eventually decided, no, we're not going to let Arnold Schwarzenegger film Kindergarten Cop here. And I think that their logic was, we have like a rural and historic aesthetic. That is our trademark here, and this would ruin it. But also part of it. So yeah, they don't want to dilute the brand. But also partly, they're all gonna laugh at you. So yeah, watching this episode, I was like, holy shit! I remember hearing about this like when I was a kid. I remember like knowing that this was a thing that actually happened. So I believe it. I believe everything that happens in this episode.
The movie Grown Ups filled its funeral scene in my town. Rob Schneider was everywhere and inescapable. Like, none of them wanted to talk to us except Rob Schneider, who was in your face the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like Rob Schneider doesn't have a whole lot going on for him.
It was kind of a bummer. Rob Schneider really wanted to shake everyone's hand.
Yeah.
So they finished doing
the fingers bit.
The fingers bit.
Oh, one other thing before we move on.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is the first time I've seen a joke not age well, but it makes it funnier. Aunt B makes a big point of asking, like, hey, will Rock Hudson be in this movie? Because she's got a major crush on Rock Hudson, and this gets brought up several times. And he's like, I bet Rock Hudson would like you like that. Nope, Rock Hudson would not be interested in you, Aunt B. And also not be interested in Ellie. Rock Hudson would not be interested in any of the women in that town. Rock Hudson might be interested in Andy.
As far as the Andy Griffith Show is concerned, and this has been established, Rock Hudson doesn't technically exist. As soon as his sexual orientation veered towards men, he just blinked out of existence.
I mean, in fairness, that was like everyone's understanding of that person in 1961.
Yeah.
They
can't fit Rock Hudson in their consciousness.
There's one other famous person that gets referenced as Gabby Hayes. And I figure, like, between Gabby Hayes or Rock Hudson and Gary Cooper, Gabby Hayes is probably the least known person. I thought it was an interesting point that they mentioned Gabby Hayes. Gabby Hayes was he was a Roy Rogers, Gene Autry kind of character actor. He was in their movies, but he was always like the Russian fashion prospector kind of guy.
Yes!
He was always that guy, like the big beard and the
I feel like that must have been a really juicy role back then. Like, you always needed a wacky prospector.
Yeah. So he was like the joke kind of character. And in fact, like Toy Story 2, the prospector kind of guy was modeled after Gabby Hayes. That's the kind of person we're looking at.
All right.
Yeah. So he was always wrestling. And so Barney asks the producer if he knows Gabby Hayes. And the producer's like, oh yeah, I saw Gabby Hayes. And again, it's just like...
I saw him, and I said hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Gabby Hayes, and he said hello back.
Yeah, and I guess the joke is that Gabby said something like a really boring non-joke. Like, Gabby was like, how's the picture business? Which, if you were in 1960 and you knew who Gabby Hayes was, you'd think that was really funny because he said something boring, but he's known for playing these, cantankerous, bombastic characters.
Oh, okay.
That's the joke. The joke is that this guy who's, famous for being, very silly said something incredibly boring and stupid.
Man, a couple of jokes have just gone over my head because I don't know, like, have no context for old-timey Hollywood.
Yeah. I have a little bit of context for old-timey Hollywood. And I'm Karina Longworth, and this is You Must Remember This. Please don't sue us, Karina.
If they had the twist at the end that, looking at my hand, Mr. Harmon turned out to not actually be a Hollywood producer and was just like some con man who was like pretending to be one, that would have been like, so they plant seeds for that the entire time.
Nope.
Yeah, that would have been so much better.
We haven't even ended Act 1. So end of Act 1 is the Andy says, all right, you have my approval to film here, basically.
He is a dictator of this town.
Act 2, now everybody, we go to commercial, we come back, and now everybody's really excited that they're going to film a movie in Mayberry. And everybody's, like, very excited. Mr. Harmon is gone.
Mm-hmm.
He went back to Hollywood to go get his crew and everybody, and they're coming back to Mayberry. Which seems like a really inefficient way to do things, but whatever.
Just, call them, like, and tell them, like, come here.
Yeah. So everybody starts, like, wearing their, like, Sunday best, and they redesign all the storefronts, and now it's, like, Hollywood Diner.
Yeah.
Famous funerals.
They give Don Knotts, like, a state trooper uniform with a bunch of, like, buttons and badges, and he's, again, Barney Fife is rock hard for this. Like, his authority boner is
he gets this, like, full-on, like, Canadian Mountie uniform.
Why a Mountie?
I don't understand why a Mountie. Andy refers to him as Smokey Bear, which I guess because of the hat, because Smokey Bear doesn't have a uniform, he just wears pants.
And, he does have the Smokey Bear hat, I guess.
The Pharrell hat.
Yes. And a nice pair of blue jeans.
Yeah. So everybody is, like, losing their mind about this thing. Aunt B and OB are dressed like ridiculous, like Sunday school characters.
And this is the part I was referring to where it just sort of goes middle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can skip about half of this stuff.
Literally, everyone in Mayberry lets the fame go to their heads. They all start putting on airs. They show, like, 15 examples of this. Floyd is wearing a tuxedo or some bullshit. They painted a bunch of buildings.
Blah, blah, blah. There's only one, like, point of any consequence. And that is Andy goes back to the mayor's office. The council is back in session. And the mayor puts out his plan for, like, the reception for when the producer gets back and his crew. And says, we're going to do a drum and bugle corps, and then my daughter's going to sing a song, and then we're going to cut down that old oak tree. And, like, for no reason, no one asked him to cut down the old oak tree, because it's an eyesore. And so Andy has to, like, go to bat and say, like, wait, why? We can't cut down the oak tree. What are you doing?
Which, they don't establish the old oak tree as an aspect of the town. Like, they don't really, like, they don't Chekhov's gun this.
This is the first time we've ever seen this oak tree. Andy kind of has, like, a throwaway line, like, I used to climb that oak tree when I was a boy, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's just an old tree that's in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And so Andy, like, protests this, but he's voted against. He's shot down. End of Act 2. Moving on to Act 3. Andy is now, like, the only person. He's still wearing his old normal uniform, and Barney's, like, giving him, like, guff about it, just saying, you're going to want to wear that uniform. I bet they won't put you in that picture at all. And
he's just kind of like Andy's just kind of sulking for the duration of Act 3.
Yeah, at one point in time he's like, I don't mean to be cantankerous, but I won't wear such a ridiculous outfit.
Well, that southern accent really went off the rails.
That went real far.
Well, that Andy is sternly disapproving of Mayberry's new look.
Yeah.
It is one of the rare episodes where Andy hasn't fucked up in any way.
Yeah. Andy's completely in the right in this episode.
Yeah.
And then finally, our producer friend arrives. He doesn't have any of his crew in tow.
No, he just shows up again.
Yeah. He, like, says, I want to start filming as soon as they get here. I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah.
I'm going to go forward and prepare the town. Which I guess he needed to do.
This episode is so hungover.
Yeah.
Like, it's... and then he shows up and he does a speech of, like, look at you all! What have you become? oh God, you used to be so wholesome and perfect, and you've perverted yourself into something terrible.
I could have built this set in Hollywood. He has to say Hollywood again.
In Hollywood.
What have you done to the town? And to yourselves? This isn't the Mayberry that I wanted to photograph. I could have built a set like this in Hollywood.
Weird. I do think there's something to the theory that this guy is not from Hollywood. Like,
it sort of feels like just from between this episode and the previous one, in which another strange robotic dude comes in, that like the town of Mayberry is an alien zoo, and every now and then like caretaker robots come in to inspect them. Like, they're being experimented on by...
It's Westworld, essentially.
Yeah! This is all a simulation. There is no world outside of Mayberry.
I'm in a dream. I have never questioned my reality. This reality is our reality.
So he rolls in, he does the impassioned speech, and it is kind of like a neat flip that they have the big Hollywood guy give, like, the impassioned speech for
the
small
outsider
town...
gets his moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a speech for small town values. It's kind of a neat little flip.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little like twist on the Andy Griffith modus operandi.
Mayberry has like an inferiority complex. They're always like, we're just a dirty little town from the South. No one's going to take us seriously. And every now and then an outsider rolls in and is like, you guys are insanely perfect. Everything here is great. I wish I lived here. I've been here 30 seconds and I'm in love with Mayberry.
Here's your validation.
Yeah, just like outsiders never come in and are like, look at this piece. Well, with the exception of Bobby Fleet.
Bobby Fleet rules.
Yeah.
Bobby Fleet came in and just roasted the entire town.
Everyone, like, if Bobby Fleet gave the entire town, like, an inferiority complex, they're like, oh, it's another Bobby Fleet. And every outsider's like, no, it's okay. You guys are great.
Yeah, Bobby Fleet burned everyone so well that the entire town just now has like PTSD.
Bobby Fleet left a psychic and emotional crater just in the center of town that they're still recovering from.
Oh, holy shit.
He was this town's Hiroshima. Like, he just nuked it.
We gotta say, though, like, for this particular episode, Mayberry Goes Hollywood, Andy doesn't do shit.
He just hangs out.
He's a bystander for the entire episode.
The early meeting is the extent of his action, and then the rest of it is either being disapproving or saying "I told you so."
Yeah, and then he gets to go ahead and be smug at the end because the producer proved him right, and the producer's like, "Stop doing what you're doing. Go home, get dressed, like put the town back to normal."
Yeah,
and Andy just kind of gets to be smug, and Barney asks if he can still keep the cool uniform for like whatever he calls Decoration Day. And that's about it. Like, we go to the epilogue, which is, haha, Barney locked himself in the jail again. And that's it. That's the episode.
It's really, like, it is kind of an impressively badly written episode in that just, like, it just forgets what characters have met each other before. They really, like, it has a really good first scene and a pretty good end scene. Like, the producer's speech, Mr. Harmon's speech about small town values, is pretty good. But it's just in between that, it's just them going like, all right, we got to get from point A to point B, and also I don't want to work late this week.
Yeah.
So
Benedict Friedman and John Fenton Murray just fucking phoned this one in, and it's their first day on the job. We've never seen these people before.
Are they getting their feet wet? Maybe.
I don't know. I'm looking ahead. We don't see them again. They write episode 19, so we'll see them again in about 6 episodes. But for now, let's move on to episode 14, written by our old friends Jack Ellison and Charles Stewart, The Horse Trader.
Which ones have these guys written before?
A whole bunch of stuff. They are Ellie for Council is one of theirs.
Okay.
Ellie comes. Wow, all the Ellie episodes. Ellie Comes to Town. The Guitar Player was one of theirs. Manhunt is one of theirs.
Okay, so yeah, these guys are the hits.
These guys come out swinging.
I think they might have the highest percentage of what the living shit. Like they don't have the one where they frame a man for armed robbery, but I think all the other really horrifying ones were these guys. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, so The Horse Trader. Here's our one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Andy makes up a story about an old, useless cannon in order to sell it to an antique dealer, even though he just told Opie about honesty. So this is another one of those, like, Andy tells Andy tells Opie something, and then it bites him in the ass immediately. Episode.
Got hoisted on my own pitchfork.
Yeah,
as Andy puts it.
Yeah, that's a good term. We'll call them pitchfork episodes.
Yeah.
It's another Andy pitchfork episode. This is one of the ones where Andy's just so very blatantly and clearly in the wrong.
And it's the first time that the show really, like, calls him out on it. Like, it's the first time where Andy does something very illegal and unethical, and everyone around him immediately goes, like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's very clear. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
The episode starts with Andy and Barney at the jail cell getting ready to go to a town council meeting. And there's a good little, like, character bit here I like, where Andy is using the jail mirror to shave. Like, he's getting ready in the jail, like, I guess implying that he didn't have enough time or, like, to do it at his house.
Yeah.
Or what have you. So he's like, and there's no one in the jail ever, so he's just, like, using the mirror. Again, the jail is just, like, a spare apartment for people to live in.
It's sort of, like further establishing the jail as just, like a clubhouse. Like, it's just like Andy Griffith's treehouse that, like, sometimes they have to detain prisoners in. Yeah.
So they're getting ready for the town council meeting, and they're discussing the proposal to remove a historic cannon from the town courtyard, and Barney's very much against this because he likes that cannon, and Andy's saying that cannon's an eyesore. It didn't get, and I like this a little bit. That cannon was always really ugly, but it didn't get any better when we blew it up trying to fire it last 4th of July.
They destroyed the barrel of it.
And I want that episode.
Yeah! That character beat, or not character, that story beat would be fucking perfect. Like, that would be some great physical comedy.
Okay, I need to clarify something. North Carolina, Union State, correct?
Yeah. Oh, no. They talk about it. Confederacy. Mayberry was part of the Confederacy. That comes up because in Season 2, there is a matter that involves a government bond that someone in the town tries to cash. This is a spoiler, but they managed to wiggle out of it on the basis that Mayberry was part of the Confederacy at the time of issuing the bond, so they only have to issue it in
Okay, so we just looked it up, and so I was wrong. North Carolina, not a Union State, Confederacy. So let's be very clear here. This episode is about the removal of a Confederate monument. That is exactly what's happening.
Holy shit! Yeah, no, it was like it was fired at like some battle. Was it actually?
Well, it apparently didn't do shit.
Yeah,
but Andy tries to claim that it was relevant.
Yeah, which he claims it was relevant through like benign non-civil war relevance.
It's really weird. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
But yeah. So Barney and Andy are talking about removing this cannon.
So now the city council features Barney, Andy, Ellie, Floyd is still on it.
Floyd's there. Orville's there, I think, but he doesn't say anything.
Orville is also there.
Yeah.
So again, city council, like, Mayberry is so, like, haphazardly run that the government is literally just whoever is in the room, and it just happens to get a vote, which Ellie must have been super pissed about because she was like, "Oh, I overcame sexism and I could have literally just walked into the room." Like,
maybe as the town sheriff, Andy has like a de facto seat. Like,
he's an elected official?
He is an elected official.
Or maybe it's as Justice of the Peace?
Possibly.
Well, then why does Barney get to vote?
Why is Barney there? I don't know why Barney gets to vote.
It is literally, my definitive headcanon is just, the mayor is losing his mind, he is going increasingly senile, and just Andy, Andy just literally brings in Barney to whip votes when he, whenever he wants.
So Barney's voting, he makes a big deal, he's going to vote against the removal. He likes this cannon, he's very upset about it. Andy makes fun of him a little bit, like, "Oh, you don't like change. You're a little bit conservative, huh?" And Barney says a little bit about, like, Barney's just a cantankerous old man. He got mad when the post office bought a stamp machine. Yeah,
man. Yeah, no. It does sort of touch upon the recent removal of Civil War monuments. It matches up perfectly with all the shit that went down last year, which is it's an extremely shitty monument that no one really likes, and all the people who want to keep it around are ostensibly doing it just because they don't want to. They don't like changing the town. It matches up perfectly. I wish there should have been someone protesting like the death of our heritage at the removal of this shitty cannon.
Yeah, I mean, Barney comes closest to that, but then he's just like, I just like it. I just want to like it. He doesn't like it enough to buy it, which is what comes up next. So
yeah,
the town votes to remove the cannon because everyone hates it. Barney does not go on record as saying no because he makes a big deal out of like saying,
I don't want to go on record as a rabble rouser.
Yeah, he makes a big deal about like you have to count the nose, and it's a pretty accurate representation of every local politics I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The mayor's about to adjourn the meeting, and then Andy brings up wait, well we haven't decided what to do with it yet.
Yeah.
And then Ellie makes a perfectly rational suggestion that Andy just shits all over. Ellie's just like, well, we could donate it to the state museum. And everyone's like, yeah, we'll donate it to the state museum. And then Andy's just like, no, you stupid bitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, some fucking museum is gonna want our shitty cannon, you idiot.
Andy just shits on her very valid idea.
And then, but his counter idea to donating it is that they should sell it. Which, for some reason, if you can't...
No, it's not Andy's idea. Barney's idea to sell it.
Why does he shit all over that? If they can't give it away for free, why do they think they'll be able to sell it?
Yeah.
It's literally just shut down because the woman said it.
Yeah. So Barney says we could sell it. Andy's like, I guess we could sell it at auction. And then they never have an auction. It's super strange.
They just sort of, their style of trying to sell it is... So it is decided that they're going to sell it.
The mayor puts Barney and Andy in charge of selling it.
Andy begins murdering Barney with his eyes for the duration of the episode. Just, glaring daggers into him because he now has to work.
Oh, we missed an important part. We missed something important. Before they left for the city council meeting, Barney and Andy ran into Opie. And Opie said that he was going to go to his friend's house and he'd be roller skating back. And Andy says, that doesn't make any sense. You don't have any roller skates. What the hell? And Opie says, I'm going to get them because I'm going to trade them to Bill. I'm going to trade him for my licorice seeds. Basically, the gist of it is Opie got screwed in a bad trade. He got conned because Opie has, no cognitive abilities whatsoever.
Nope, yeah.
He traded his cat pistol away for what his friend called licorice seeds. Stuff where you could grow your own licorice. And then Opie figured out, I got cheated because I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But he's smart enough to figure out, well, I can go cheat this other friend and get some roller skates out of it, and that's way better than a cat pistol.
Opie's cognitive abilities are directly proportional to how bad of a thing he's doing.
Yeah,
if it's just being a benign, normal human being, he doesn't know how to use a fork. But if it's conning someone out of their hard-earned possessions, Opie is suddenly fucking wheeling and dealing and doing high-level Rain Man mathematics in his head.
Remember, this is a guy who he can't spell. He can't write.
Yeah, he's illiterate, and he's still able to pull off some pretty some solid crimes for a child.
I mean, it starts in the home.
Yeah,
it starts in the home.
I have a developing theory about this show, which is before he was a sheriff, Andy was a con man. Andy is a fantastic con man who is inexplicably a sheriff. My headcanon is that that's what he did before he was this, and he somehow tricked his way into getting the sheriff job.
Well, you got trouble right here in Mayberry. Here's a badge, you can fix it. Wait, what?
What?
No.
No, yeah, it was I had a whole con I was going to do. I was
going to do a song and everything. It was I was gonna pretend about some musical instruments. Okay, you guys want to make me?
This works too.
This is way better than my plan. All right,
a combination of the Music Man and Banshee, and meanwhile his son has his God-given talent for ripping people off. He's watching it happen to him, be no. He can't he can't live my life. Not after the things that went down in Atlanta. At some point, some character is gonna roll into town and be like, "Funny seeing you here. Jack Morris, or are you going by Andy now? Like, you still owe me 100 large.
It's gonna be a history of violence.
No, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, well, it's very important that we, like, establish that Opie was gonna do this, and then Andy scolded him for it.
Yeah.
Said, like, you can't do that. You can't, like, break the golden rule. It's good fun. Golden rule is do unto others what they would do. And I was like, yeah, it was done unto me. Now I'm gonna do it unto that guy.
One of the episodes where Opie is a straight up savage.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Every now and then the right writer gets his hands on Opie, and Opie is just down for no one's shit.
It
Like,
rules.
yeah.
It rules. No, so Andy says, don't do that. It's bullshit. Alright.
Oh, but his general thing is just like, he starts to lecture him, and he just like kind of goes like, I don't have time for this. Don't do it. I gotta go vote. Like,
So then they leave, and then Opie says to nobody, if honesty is the best policy, how come I'm out a cat pistol? And then the scene
Ron
ends.
Howard's terrible acting of he just yells that line into an empty street.
Yeah, take that, Academy Award winning director Ron Howard.
Sometimes you were a bad actor when you were a little kid. When you were clearly given vague and confusing stage directions, you didn't enunciate effectively.
They vote to get rid of the cannon, and they put Barney and Andy in charge of selling it. We do this little montage set to the ants go marching.
Which, they chain the cannon to the back of their cruiser and just start
Which is
driving
really
it around
funny.
town. It's such, like, yeah, they don't do an auction. Their thing is to just strap it to the back of a police car, drive around Mayberry, just go like, hey, y'all want a cannon?
They're door-to-door cannon
Yeah,
salesmen.
can I introduce anyone in a friggin' cannon? Who wants some artillery? Come on down.
Come on down to Crazy Andy's House of Cannons.
I know there was like a Mayberry resident just like walking down the street like, oh, don't look. They're dragging the friggin' cannon again.
It's
oh
like-
God, don't look up, don't look up, don't look up.
It's like when you see somebody in like an orange vest with a clipboard outside of like a grocery store. It's like, fuck
Oh,
off.
no,
Piss.
no, damn it. I don't want to
Don't make
buy
eye
any
contact.
newspapers to support the homeless. God damn it.
Yeah. So there's this montage of them like going around trying to sell it. Like the only funny one is when they go to like a junk dealer, and the junk dealer's got a big old sign and says, "We sell anything," and he refuses, and he like pulls off a cover, and he's already got a cannon. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't need more cannons. My cannon quota is met.
It's kind of weird because like they were trying to sell the cannon for literally anything. I would take a cannon. Like if someone rolled up and was like, "I'll give you a cannon for any money," I'd be like, I mean, I don't have any use for that per se, but also freaking cannon. Like, I'll buy a cannon on Humble Bundle pricing.
Once they've gone through everyone in town, they just kind of sit around. They return the cannon to its original spot, and Barney and Andy kind of have an argument because Andy tries to convince Barney, "Well, you like this cannon so much, why don't you buy it, idiot?"
It's kind of Andy finally reaches the limits of his ability to manipulate Barney. Like,
Yeah.
which he doesn't use like Barney's authoritarian tendencies. He didn't do like, if you put this cannon in the yard, everyone would bend to your unyielding authority. It would really signify your strength as a man, like your connection to your ancestors, Barney. Like he should just like
Yeah, if he could have definitely gotten Barney on like some of that, but
he
instead
should
he's
have got
just
full
like,
Mussolini.
yeah, instead he's just. Instead, he's just like, well, you like this cannon, you can put it in your yard, people will play on it, and kids will be like a historical monument. And like, Barney, of course, is just like, what interest do I have in that if I can't control them?
He was kind of, yeah. He was like, I don't really want it. And Andy is like, yes, you do. You do want it, Barney. Like, he's trying to, like Jedi mind trick him like he does every other episode. And Barney just, like, straight up goes like, stop it! Stop it! I will not let you do this to me again! I don't want the cannon! Like, he finally, like rises up and is like, this is a bridge too far! You've done a lot to me! You've tricked me out of dates! You've made me work on weekends through doing this! You are not making me take an old piece of artillery! No!
It's so weird, because Barney is, of course, the exact kind of person who would buy a cannon.
Yeah!
But whatever, he doesn't want to buy the cannon.
I wanted there to just be a line of like, my therapist, Dr. Sheldon, says that I need to start standing up to you.
Okay, so The next scene is they're hanging around the pharmacy shop drinking milkshakes or whatever, and Barney comes in and he says he's got somebody who's going to take the cannon. The junk dealer in town is going to take it, and all we have to do is pay him $15.
The joke is he'll take it off our hands for $15, and he's like, well, $15 isn't very much, but I don't think we got any other options. Collect the money from him, and we'll drive it over. And Barney goes, no, we have to pay him. And Andy just goes like, ah! Like, just sort of like throws up his hands and is just like completely like defeated.
So then the answer to their problem just literally walks right in the door. Comes in and asks Ellie to buy some pipe tobacco, and then looks at this like very nice display that Ellie has of this like a washboard. It's like a wash tub.
Another potential alien.
Yeah, this dude is also a potential alien.
Yeah.
He looks very much like the guy on The Simpsons that sells the monorail.
He has like this. He has like the suit.
The checkered wool jacket suit, like the car salesman suit jacket. And I'm putting a straw boater hat on him, but in my mind, but I don't think he actually has it.
He sort of looked like Don Rickles to me. Like, yeah,
I can see it. So then he like looks at this like display that Ellie has on the counter where she's selling like soap in this big like steel bucket, and he's like, "Wow, I haven't seen one of those in a while." And Ellie's like, "So
it's a bucket."
No, and he's like, "Oh, that's a tin radiator wash tub thingamajigger." He's like, I'll buy that for you for $5 because I'm an antiques dealer. And he like boasts this out, like yells at it. And Ellie's like, all right.
He was just trying to pick up Ellie. He was just he was just trying to name drop, like, as an antiques dealer.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
And I love Ellie's response to this, because Ellie's response to everything is just, okay.
Yeah. Like, Ellie basically says, like, so you want to buy my bucket?
Yeah.
Like, it may be an antique. It's a friggin' bucket.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she starts like taking the soap out of it. I guess I'll put this soap in any other bucket.
Yeah.
So she collects her $5 and
everyone immediately accepts that he is in fact an antique dealer. I would have like equally entertained the possibility that this is just a passing lunatic.
Yeah, like possibly.
Yeah.
So Andy and Barney overhear this, and Andy says, "Well, have I got an interesting proposition for you?"
He goes full Music Man in a second.
Yeah.
Like it's his immediate instinct. Like he immediately goes con.
Smash cut to Barney and Andy and this new guy, Mr. Mason, who is the antiques dealer, and they're standing outside of the cannon, and Mr. Mason's looking at it going, "Boy, I don't know. And it's basically like, I've watched a lot of American Pickers.
Why are you watching a lot of American Pickers? Well, never mind. There's no time.
And that's basically what's going down here, is they're just bullshitting each other, trying to, the antiques dealer going, well, I don't know if I can find anybody to buy this, which, first rule of American Pickers is anyone who says that is lying.
Right.
Because they're just trying to get a better price. So rather than do some haggling...
How many rules are there to American Pickers, Marty? List of them. Is it more than 10?
Well, Dan, for the answer to that, you'll have to listen to our follow-up podcast, Pickup Artists, the American Pickers podcast. So rather than try to haggle a little bit, Andy just goes in a full-on bullshit mode. He's like, well, you're interested in, like, historical stuff, right? Like, fired the first shot at Fort Sumter. So he says the first thing he says is Fort Sumter, but then he's like, actually, this cannon was hauled up San Juan Hill by Teddy Roosevelt. Completely different war.
Yeah.
He
immediately pivots away from the Civil War. The most obvious thing.
Yeah. He said, it came from, which also, I think lends credence to the idea that, Mr. Mason is not an antiques dealer. Or he is an antiques dealer, and he's just going along with Andy's bullshit.
Well, no, Mr. Mason is immediately he was a cavalry unit. That doesn't make sense for them to have a cannon.
Oh, Andy says, oh yeah, well, he was a cavalry, but he was pulling this thing behind him on a horse, barely just implying that this horse was carrying a cannon.
Yeah, just the artillery that all cavalries have.
Yeah.
Just when they used to makeshift tanks. So Andy basically manages to move the cannon for, was it
$175, which is in 2017, 2018 money, a little bit over $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, he made a good chunk of change on this.
That's about appropriate for a cannon.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So he sells it for about $1,000. I guess you should clarify that figure came from the ultra reliable Mayberry Wiki.
Oh God, the third podcast member.
Yeah.
The guy who writes the Mayberry Wiki. So yeah, but he does like this whole like spiel, like he immediately like, do I have a deal for you? Makes up a complete bullshit lie to sell this cannon. Goes back like, you will not believe the amount of money I got for that cannon. Real good. I did real good for the town. $175. And Ellie and Barney are both sitting there in horrified silence.
Yeah.
Just like Barney's mouth is open. Ellie is like wide-eyed and pursed lips. They're just like, did you just sell a man a cannon for $1,000 on a complete bullshit lie? Mr. Sheriff and Justice of the Peace.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with this. They want 0% to do with it.
It's really the first time, like, I can't believe this is the most horrified characters in the show have ever been at Andy's behavior, when it has included voter suppression, child abduction, falsified police reports, framing, and whatever the hell. Oh, and arresting people on trumped up witnesses. This, like, again, it's nowhere near the worst thing he's done.
It's the first time that Barney and Ellie have just been like, what the hell?
And it sort of feels like Barney is at the end of his rope, where he is just like, Andy, like Barney's like...
Yeah, Barney's going through an existential crisis in this.
Yeah, Barney starts doing the Barney equivalent of binge drinking, which is slamming root beer floats.
Yeah, he just keeps... And Ellie's like, I think I should cut you off. And Barney's just like, if you don't sell them to me, I'm just going to buy them somewhere else. It's genuinely funny.
Yeah. No, it's very clearly like a stand-in for just like him slugging whiskeys.
Yeah.
But,
all right, so they're pissed off at him, and Andy's like, well, don't that just beat all? Blah, 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 blah.
Doing this for the town.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that got...
Town.
Town.
So then they go back, and Opie has now secured what kind of prize does he have?
Opie roller skates into the house, and Andy looks at him and is like, you have those roller skates. How did you get them? And Opie is like, my friend decided to give them to me for no reason whatsoever. Like, child, you told him your plan. Like, you laid this out for him. And Andy was like, now I think what you might have done is you might have conned your friend with those licorice seeds into giving you those roller skates. And I think you're about to try to lie to me about it. You better not do that. And Opie's like, there may have been a deal involved. Like
yeah.
He's still very, very coyly.
Yeah, so we get this, like, I learned it from watching you moment, essentially.
Again, he's still, like, looking at Opie, and he's like, oh, it's the Kansas City Shuffle all over again. Like, the family conning gene is in this boy's blood. I can't let him go down this path.
Opie's just like, well, we both broke the rules. And Andy's like, oh, fine, God damn it, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so, let's return to the soda shop pharmacy. Mr. Mason has come in. He wants to give Barney the money, the $175. He's got a check with him. He's like, here you go, take it. And Barney's just like, no. Yeah. I want nothing to do with your blood money.
Yeah. Barney is, like, slowly becoming more and more of a, like, he's becoming less of a bad person and more just turning into, like, a wimp.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I would say the exact opposite. He's developing a spine.
Well, he like, later throughout the show, like, it is his overarching, like, thing of just, like, Barney's wimpy and folds easily under pressure. Like, but they've made, like, he's no longer, like, all right, episode 2 Barney would have been like, yeah, give it to me. We can use this to buy guns. Like, like he would have been gung-ho about this.
Okay, so Barney's not taking the money. Andy comes in, and Mr. Mason's like, well, here's your $175. And Andy comes clean. He's like, look, I got to tell you, I lied. This is that. And then Mr. Mason takes this very well. He's just like, well, you know what? I'll tell you the truth, dude. I could definitely sell this cannon. I've got a guy to sell this cannon to. And so they, like, haggle themselves down.
Yeah.
Like, and this is where Andy like screws up, because he could have he could have taken whatever.
He came clean, and
Yeah.
he feels so bad about the conning that he did earlier.
He winds up selling it for like $20.
Yeah.
Minus 10 for like delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the town gets nothing out of this, essentially.
Yeah. So one thing we actually forgot to mention, and circle back, the reason that they're getting rid of the cannon is it's being replaced by a plaque. Hence the title, A Plaque for Mayberry. We did a bad job explaining that.
Yeah.
No. They're getting a plaque from a famous, from a rich former resident is donating a plaque to commemorate Mayberry's role in a famous Civil War battle. Which within a Confederate connection in their heads, like it's a man from the deep South. He's donating a plaque, and it is revealed at the very end of the episode in the nice little like putting a bow on its stinger.
The epilogue.
That he has decided, in lieu of a plaque, to provide them with an authentic Civil War cannon, like that had its muzzle cracked in the Battle of
something or other,
trailing off.
Yeah.
So really, it was Mr. Mason.
Yeah.
Mr. Mason was a fellow con man the entire time, who just took their cannon, turned it around, and sold it right back to the town.
Yeah.
With
Which
his-
rules.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And it does kind of like tie into like the earlier thing of Opie being like, "Oh man, doing the right thing sucks. Like I got screwed over, but I can't screw over other people." And Andy like little like full circle. Andy has his own like little Opie lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you wanna do some episode ratings?
Episode ratings.
Ratings. So, episode 13, Mayberry Goes Hollywood. All right. So, starting with our Andy meter, scale of 1 to 10 Andys. How good is this episode?
2.
You don't like this episode at all.
I hated this episode. I literally tried to do like a quick recap, like watch of it, and I got bored halfway through and just started watching Arrested Development. Like it's so shitty. I think like something I want to like specify with each of these is like, should you watch this at home in addition to listening to this? And this one, absolutely not. Like it's boring as hell.
Okay, yeah. I actually kind of like this episode for some reason, because I had a lot to talk about, but the more we talked about it, the more I realized, this episode does kind of suck.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a 4 Andys for me. However, let's go ahead and flip the FIFO meter. So our FIFO meter is like how disturbing, how fucked up, how morally reprehensible is this episode. 0.
0, yes.
0 5s. No, like nobody does anything. 1 5 for Floyd's weird, like, practicing medicine on cats kind of thing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. I will say, this episode does have the silver lining introduction of the mayor. Like, my favorite fucking character.
The mayor ruled.
Oh, God. He's just like if a bulldog could also be an old man.
It's very,
more of a pug.
Powerpuff Girls, like Mayor of Townsville kind of thing.
Holy shit.
Like, almost directly related.
If the mayor of Townsville was egg-shaped.
Yeah.
So no moral repugnancy whatsoever.
Yeah, 0.
0.
Like, just good, clean fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mayberry Goes Hollywood, neither of us really like. Alright, so episode 14, The Horse Trader.
Yeah.
Alright, Andy meter.
I'd say 7? It's pretty good. It's a pretty well written episode. Like, it has like a really nice arc. Like, there's sort of like it does a cool thing of like Andy has a like Opie is a microcosm of the episode happening within the episode that like sort of echoes out to like how Andy gets like screwed over in the end.
Yeah, once again they're kind of experimenting with telling 2 stories, but haven't really figured like the merger out. Yeah.
They do some cool storytelling stuff.
There's a little bit of filler in it, but like not a whole lot.
A smidge of filler, and it does have an important milestone of the first time that Barney in any way whatsoever stands up to Andy.
Yeah, I'll also go 7.
Yeah.
And then, so this is interesting. We can't really call it the FIFO meter for this episode because Barney Fife is completely in the right. But as far as like moral, like terribleness, I mean, it's still got to give it like a 3 or 4. 'Cause, like,
Barney circles back. Like, this is not like the last... Like, Barney has not been a monster for the last time in the episode. He comes back with a vengeance.
oh, sure.
Like,
oh, sure.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, for this, as far as, like screwed up stuff, 3 or 4. Like, it's not the worst thing Andy has done.
It's honestly, it's kind of low because, like, it's the most Andy has ever been punished for his actions.
That's true.
Proportional to how shitty the actions are. Normally what makes this show so, like, upsetting is how much, like, how much the characters get away with their bad actions and are often, like, rewarded for them. Like, this Andy does relatively little illegal shit and is heavily, like biblically punished. Like, God reaches down to sort of, like, slap Andy on the head.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so I'd say, like, I'd put it at, like, a 2 or 3.
I'm going to go with 3.
Yeah, 3.
All right, so those are our ratings. Those are our 2 episodes.
Oh, and don't watch Mayberry Goes Hollywood. I'd say watch Horse Trader.
Horse Trader is worth watching.
Yeah. I think right now the list of, like, which ones you should watch are definitely Manhunt. Oh, shit.
Definitely a Feud is a Feud.
Definitely a Feud is a Feud. Definitely, what's the...
Runaway Kid.
And episode 7, what's the name of that? I can never remember because it's...
Andy the Matchmaker.
Andy the Matchmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some of our favorites right now.
Yeah.
All right, so next time we're taking on episode 15, Those Gossipin' Men, and episode 16, The Beauty Contest. I really like the Beauty Contest episode.
The Beauty Contest episode rules. Yeah, that's another one of, like, I really like the second episode, not a super fan of the first episode.
Once again, our theme music is done by Max Ludwig, who you can follow on Twitter at SleepTalkie. Our logo design is Emily Christina, who you can follow on Instagram at Scribblemily.
Scribemily. Yeah.
There's like an extra L in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Scribble Emily.
Yeah, yeah, it's like scribe. It's SCRIBLE Millie.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like the show, please continue to listen to us. We are on iTunes and Stitcher and wherever you get your podcasts from. You please remember to give us a rating, a review, share us with your friends, share us with your grandparents. You know, have a good old bonding experience around us. Tweet at Ron Howard.
Tweet at Ron Howard.
Tell Ron Howard how your day's going.
Just hit him up and just ask him this time. Ask Ron Howard how he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, just check in with Ron Howard.
When was the last time anyone asked how Ron Howard felt?
He's got to be doing pretty good. Solo doesn't suck apparently, so that's got to be taking a weight off of him. We should have checked in earlier. He was probably under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
All right.
So as always, tweet at Ron Howard and also tweet at us. We are at Break Mayberry, and you can also hit us on email. Give us an email, breakingmayberry@gmail.com.
What are people going
Facebook.com
to email us?
/break. I don't know.
I'm excited to find out.
Facebook.com. Like us on Facebook, Breaking Mayberry. But please, above all, give us a rating, give us a review, subscribe. Be sure to do all that stuff because that helps us get to other people's earbuds. I think we're pretty much wrapped up. Oh, obviously, you can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at Schneidremarks.
I'm at the Luds.
2 Ds. Double D.
I'm morally opposed to saying how many Ds there are.
Okay.
Yeah, I want them to have to look for it.
Until then, we'll see y'all later. We'll see y'all down at the fishing hole.